Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 3 vs 3 on Rift, and I'm going to be playing with the new 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment. This was a really fun game that showed off the division exceptionally well, so sit back, relax and enjoy this one. Let's have a quick look at what we've got going down. We have a couple of LRS that are going to be leading the charge, getting to their forward deployment positions. I also have the M3A1 Bradleys, 2 of those, and I also have the beautiful M1A1 ACAVs. Now these are Abrams that can be forward deployed. They have 2,473 meter advanced deployment, which is fantastic. It is the best unit that can be forward deployed so far in the game, so we'll have to see how they get on today. We have the engineer with flash launchers in there. I've got the Iltis Fudongs to come capture this sector. It's also capped my back sector here. I've got a couple of PVADs to protect the M1A1 ACAVs. My LRS here going to get into a little bit of trouble. Bumps into a Razvedka Zapari at close range, as well as the Spetsnaz, and goes down very fast indeed. But the M1A1 already here to provide support, and you can see that it's starting to smash the Spetsnaz as my engineers try and get into position. I've also got the M1A Cav on the right hand side coming across to provide extra fire support. The beauty of these Abrams is that they have the firepower of a normal M1A1, but they just have the optics to actually spot their own targets, which means that you save money on recon generally. In this case, I brought in the M3A1s as well because their Toad 2 is really good for long range HGM support, and also they're pretty good for helping deal with infantry. MiG-21 going to come over the top there. But engineers now engaging the Sapari at close range. This is a good matchup for the engineers. Like, the engineers with flash launchers can destroy the Sapari RPO very easily, so managed to do so. LRS currently trying to avoid the Sapari and the BTR-60s, but can't actually kill the BTR-60s, so I'm going to have to jump them out, and I'm actually going to put them in the Humvee just to keep them safe for the time being. Unfortunately, the Agona missile from the T-80BV does hit my poor Bradley. That goes up in flames. But the M1A1 ACAV, knowing that there's not much anti-tank infantry here, is just going to rush onto these BTR-60s to get rid of them so that my LRS can be safe here. I've also got the PVADs, and what can you hear in the background? That is right, it is a couple of A10 Thunderbolts. Do love the Thunderbolts, they are really fun to use. In this case, they're going to be targeting both of the T-80 on the ground. The smoke goes off, the T-80BVK doesn't get smoked off and does go down. That's a big kill for the A10 Thunderbolt. I'm going to evac this one as it does get hit by a big missile, most likely a Kub. This one's still full health, so I'm going to try my luck here, whilst the M1A1 ACAVs on the left are going to clean up the rest of the units here. Here comes the A10. Nice bit of route. Going to take out another T-80. And we're going to take out the Spetsnaz as well. Just listen to that. Absolutely ruined. Unfortunately, 2 Kubs, not just one. And that's going to get the job done. Because only one had fired previously, I was kind of confident the A10 could tank one of them, but not 2. And both of them hitting there manages to find the kill. I also managed to get the T-80 on the left here with the M1 ACAVs that snuck through the trees here. Now this is a really good example of why the M1A1 ACAV is so good. Normally an M1A1 in this position wouldn't be able to see these Kubs, but the M1A1 ACAV can. So it can aggressively push here to try and find the kills, and I'm going to try and get both of these Kubs as quickly as possible before they try and retreat, catch Turkey off guard, and boom. 2 shots, 2 kills. Stop this for the second shot just to get the extra accuracy from the static. You get 5% more when you're not moving. 5% more accuracy, that is. And I managed to get just out of range of the T-80BV's missile. So a really good start. Managed to kill the T-80 leader. Killed 2 T-80BVs. We killed both the Kubs. Now, those Kubs going down, it's really good. But honestly, it's like not good timing for me because the A10 Thunderbolts obviously have been forced back already. So maybe what I should have done is maybe kept one in reserve, but then if I'd kept one in reserve I wouldn't have got the second T-80BV kill, so it's, yeah, it depends. M1A1 going to sneak through the tree line there, get the shot onto the T-80BV. We're going to be engaging with the M1A1 here as well. That missile does hit, does 3 damage. We're going to be able to force back the BV. We are playing up against the 79th Guards Tank Division. This is after they had their T-80U UDs removed. So they are definitely a lot less strong than they were before. And now they rely on the T-80 BVs, which whilst they do have like 18 penetration, they've got to get reasonably close to do decent damage to the M1A1s. And the M1A1s do have the 19 penetration, so it's very sort of equal tank engagement, but I have the kind of the leg up here because I already killed 3 of his tanks, and for the rest of the game he's going to be at a deficit in the number of tanks, unless I make a big mistake. Like if he manages to bring in like an SU-25 or something and kill like 3 tanks in a row, then, you know, it would equal things out a bit and give him a chance to build a critical mass of tanks to push me back. But so far so good. My M1A1 ACAVs have been putting in absolute work on the front line. The Bradleys have been struggling a little bit. Of course, one of them got killed. This one did get hit, but managed to fall back, and I've brought in a UH-60A supply to fix that up. I've also got another one coming over to the left-hand side. That's to fix up the M1A1 ACAV. And my LRS team is still chilling, watching movies in the back of the Humvee. But they will unload eventually, and I'll get them back into that building so that I can have some recon on the left-hand side. The main thing is to get this M1A1 into this sector at the moment, decap that and cap it back so that we aren't at a deficit in terms of points, and that will actually give us a +1 tick, which would be very nice. In this case, the M1A1 going to get hit here by the BMP-2, not able to one-shot it from this distance, which was unfortunate, and I'm going to be backing off from these HGMs, and that second one just missing. You see I've brought up these Stingers, they're going to be just moving up the tree line here. I've got the P-Vans nice and far forwards, because Taki has now invested in an Mi-24P. And the COCOM missile on these is 2,800 meters, so it's going to be able to plink at my M1A1s, and it's kind of risky in a lot of ways to get like side shot by HGMs from helicopters, because usually your armor is going to be facing enemy armor on the ground. So if the Mi-24 is like off to one side, you can find those cheeky side shots with HGMs, and that's when you get really good kills with helicopter HGMs. In this case though, we're going to have the Stingers fire at the Mi-24. Taki's going to back it off. The shot does come in there from the T-80. Again, my M1A1 did hit another BMP, but didn't get the kill. In this case, Stinger goes down. I think one of those Stingers just wasn't in the tree line entirely, so that was unfortunate. Anyway, 2 more M1A1 Abrams going to be joining the fight. Bear in mind I only have 2 M1A1 ACAVs, so keeping these alive so that they can continue to support the standard M1A1s is very important. And so far, like having them at the start there and getting so much work done with them has been fantastic, and now they can support extra M1A1s plus the leader coming in here. So the Mi-24P there, exploiting its long range to get a shot onto the Abrams CP. This Abrams CP doesn't need to stay in the sector because he's not contesting it at the moment, so that's absolutely fine. M3A1 Bradley gonna smoke off just in time, and you saw the HGM crash into the side there. And now the iHawk gonna take shots. This Mi-24P, I'll tell you what, it was kind of lucky. It's only got 10% ECM. It's already dodged multiple Stinger shots and an iHawk now, which does have 55% accuracy, so managing to get away with no damage on that Mi-24P just yet. It'd probably be unlikely that I would have shot it down, but at least doing some damage to it would have made him, or forced him, to play more cautiously with it. Another M1A1 arriving, and this is going to be a trend throughout this game, is a lot of tanks. There's some big tank engagements that happen throughout this game, and that's because the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment gets a ton of Abrams, and we're also up against the 79th, which gets a ton of tanks, like particularly these T-80 BVs, and you can see we're going for the spearhead formation with the 3 Abrams charging towards the T-80 BVs. We're going to take some HGM fire. As soon as we get in gun range, we should have the advantage. One of my Abrams is getting targeted here, getting hit pretty hard. We're going to have to smoke that one off. Gets down to 1 health. Going to continue the engagement with the other 2, try and focus down this T-80 BV, but Taki's going to do the same. He's going to smoke off I'm going to bring up my leader to make sure that I have extra fire on target. But that's going to get engine damaged. And he's going to smoke off his T-80. Now we're going to be engaging the BMP-2s. The BMP-2s aren't fully fixed up, so we're going to be able to one-shot these at a distance now. But the main thing right now is to try and exploit these T-80 BVs that are damaged. So I'm trying to put on the pressure, and you can see that I'm advancing very aggressively right now with the M1A1s. The ACAV's going to spot the Motostrelki there and deal with that. And you can see my PVAD's now going to be rushing up the road because I realized that I hadn't brought them up in support as I push these tanks forwards. And you see that I'm just going to be reversing slightly to allow the PVADs to catch up, and then I'm going to be able to push back forwards again. However, my mistake here really cost me probably the kills onto the T-80s there. Regardless, the PVADs are going to be moving up and starting to get their shots on target. Taki, of course, not going to let them continue to do that, but at least it pushes them back away from the tanks and allows the tanks to move forwards. Now, the risk here is letting the PVADs be killed by tanks, particularly in this sort of engagement, having Blue 4 versus Red 4. Red 4 tanks quite often have HGMs, and that can snipe your AA. Because you want to kind of have your PVADs close enough that they can stop the Mi-24P from using its HGM, but then you also put yourself in range of enemy HGMs. So it's kind of a balancing act. Having your AA so close to the front line, it really puts them at risk. But here, I'm just kind of having to commit. I managed to take out the T-80 BV, going to smoke off the M1A1 ACAV here to avoid T-80 on the right flank. The PVADs do manage to kill off the Mi-2 at least to get rid of some of the recon, but HGMs coming in, still hitting and doing damage to my tanks. I'm going to have to back off. In this case, T-80 BVK going to find the side shot onto one of my ACAVs, so that's going to go down. Did manage to get some damage back onto the T-80 BVK, but with another shot coming out of the tree line here, finding the side and taking the turret off my M1A1, I'm going to have to back off, for sure. My Bradley on the right hand side here, I was really hoping to kill the T-80 BVK. We did manage to hit that with the TOW2, but it wasn't enough to find the kill. Left it very, very low on health, and my M1A1 very, very at risk now, especially with the engine damage and no smoke left. That may be a little bit of an overextension here as the engagement ends with my command tank exploding. I do now have these mortars. These mortars are providing this smoke, as you can see. I was placing it on the left-hand side here to stop reinforcing tanks from getting line of sight, so this T-80 BV would have been an example of that. But alas, I'm going to have to back up, get my Abrams fixed up, and then push back forwards. PVADs here, kind of a little bit of a lack of micro from me, just letting them sit out in the open like that. The first shot gets the cohesion low on the PVADs, makes it really slow, and T-80 BV picks it off. Can't really afford to lose these PVADs because they are the main counter to the use of helicopters and potentially aircraft as well. I do have the iHawk for aircraft, but yeah, the PVADs definitely help by getting their cohesion low quickly. So now I'm actually just firing standard mortar rounds at this T-80 BV. If a mortar round does hit a T-80 or a tank, it generally does like 1 damage. So you can start to chip away at the enemy and also kind of lower their cohesion a little bit. So that is one reason that I'm engaging with the mortars like that. But Taki going to be sneaking out a T-80 BV on this right hand side. A very, very sneaky engagement there. And a bit of a PVAD's shot does take down one of the Su-22s. Abrams getting very, very low here. Now we're going to be engaging BMP-2 on the right flank. Then the BMP-2 finds its HGM on target first, which is unfortunate. Bradley goes down. Some mortar fire. Starting to chip this T-80 BV. You can see there you go. Direct hit. Took a chunk of health off the T-80 BV. Only requires like one of them to really stop these TATPVs from being a big problem, but now I have the Kiowa in range, and that was a whole breach with the Hellfire missile. Absolutely demolishes that TATPV. That looks really cool when the missile went up and then down and just like smashed that and blew it up. That was really cool. Anyway, Mortar not quite finishing the job there, and Abrams limping back towards my supply. We've got the UH-60A like a little bit further forwards, the Chinooks further back. I really should have had supply trucks that were transporting from these helicopters, because they're kind of sitting here right out in the open. Like the Mi-2 here can probably see this, so it's a big risk to kind of just having it sit there, but it's really useful, I guess, to have a big base of supply that I can use to fix up my tanks and then push back forwards. And Mortar Fire is going to continue onto this tree line. I've got F-16s coming in. They are Seed. We're going to take out Tunguska there. I was also hoping to take out the Cubs, so we managed to take out 2 pieces of enemy AA, which is really, really good. These have 40% ECM, but doesn't stop the second Cub from getting a shot on target. Not the best RNG so far, but we're making it work, as I now have another 4 Abrams arriving. And we're going to continue these engagements. I've managed to keep this capped. We are ahead in points at the moment, which is good. AIM struggling a little bit to counter cap Charlie. On the right hand side, things pretty even as Sathor continues his engagement with Decadon. Mi-2 going to take an Ihawk missile to the face. Jolly good. A-10 Thunderbolt now hanging around in the back line, looking for a support onto the tanks when I push with the M1A1 Abrams here. So the Chinook going to get taken out by enemy artillery, because yeah, it was spotted. Again, it was kind of silly of me to have it that far up. We all make mistakes. M1A1's now pushing to the left. So I figured with this caps and me dealing with a lot of these tanks, I thought, what better to do than help AIM try and take back this sector. So you can see I've set up this push with the M1A1 Abrams. I've got the support of the recon of the Bradley. I'm going to be bringing over the mortars. I've got the PVADs on the way shortly. We've got the ACAV, another M1A1 there moving across, and then the A10, of course, coming in here. So that's going to go ahead and destroy that supply. We're going to strafe the Fallschirmjäger. Now I'm going to be going for the Su-22. I had to smoke all of my tanks because that's what I had selected. That does stop the Su-22 M4K from getting any kills, and that looked absolutely spectacular as it crashed. But now the SPG-9 going to get wiped out by the Abrams as I breach through the smoke. We're going to be taking out the Strela 2M. And we're just starting to really blank cheaters very, very fast with our tanks here. Fallschirmjäger almost get the side shot onto one of my M1A1s, but we're going to be able to kill that pretty fast indeed with all the machine guns on target. Now the Fargo going to be the next thing to fire at. Those really can't deal with my tanks in the front armor. There is now an HGM sitting in this building, but I can't see it because the line of sight is kind of janky when you have units inside of buildings like this. So he's managing to get the better of me a little bit there with all those Metis shots on target. But now we finally get eyes. TATPVs from Taki now starting to respond to my push to the left-hand side, and this has allowed AIM to get a command into this sector. Whilst this was going on, Taki did take the opportunity to cap this center sector, so that was a little unfortunate, and now I'm having to deal with the Mi-24Ds here, and this is when I realized that actually I didn't move my PVADs over, and we're going to have to retreat. And this is really bad because the rockets plus the TATPV shooting me is causing a lot of problems. I'm going to bring in a couple of Fighting Falcons to try and help deal with that. I managed to take out one of the Mi-24s. But this M1A1 ACAV is track broken, so that is unfortunate. I am going to lose both my PVADs and a Fighting Falcon here. The second Fighting Falcon also going to go down as a MiG-29 comes in. And my Ihawks, they're going to let me down. So I don't manage to get one back. I lost both my aircraft. We did manage to kill one of the helicopters, and we have made a big amount of ground into this sector. but alas, the Sultan here has been forced back, and a lot of my tanks obviously limping out of this combat. You can see how many are very damaged back here, and the M1A1A Cav is just kind of waiting to die with the tracks broken there. But manages to fix it up. I'm gonna start retreating. My LRS squad currently chilling, providing lots of recon. But here comes the HGMs. Difficulty right now is cohesion. Because it's low cohesion, it gets movement reduced by 50%. I have brought up some infantry here to help support this once I broke through. Really nice tank attack though, it was really, really fun to do. And this Abrams, yeah, again, suffering the same problem with the low cohesion, and taking more rockets to the face really doesn't help. Just trying to get the engineers into a good position to engage these units. The T-80BV is a problem though. Can't really deal with that at the moment. Anyway, now moving back this Chinook. I'm going to have the Abrams drive back a bit further this time. Now I start to deal with a different problem. And what is that, you might ask? It is fuel! There's one thing I really, really despise in this game right now, it's the fuel mechanic. Because in situations like this, where I just make like a simple flank from right to left, it literally made me run out of fuel in a lot of my tanks. It's really dumb. So this Abrams here, sitting here with 2 health, with no fuel. This one is down to 140 fuel. This one down to 150 fuel. Like it seems so silly that a tank can't just like drive here and drive back without running out of fuel. Anyway, F111F coming in from Sathork, going for the cluster strike. Taki has always been investing into a lot of AA, and well, there it is again. The cluster strike does land on target, most likely got the kill, but lost the plane for it. Some of my tanks have managed to recover now with the CH-47. But here we have the F-16 coming in again with the Seed missiles. Unfortunately a miss there, and then we took a hit. So we missed the curb with 65% accuracy, mind you. And then we took a shot from the curb, where he has like 40% accuracy, whilst we have 40% ECM. Good times, good times. Alright, anyway. Moving on. My Abrams are going to get back into position. We're going to try and support my M1A1 getting back into this sector. I should just be able to cap this back nice and quickly, but me pushing over to the left side here, it did win us this sector, but we now need to capture back the mid so that we can maintain a decent lead. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, unfortunately, Decadon got the better of Sathor and pushed him out of hotel, so that is where the +1 is coming in right now. But I am going to be able to somewhat cancel it out with the M1A1's Abrams CP. Moving in here. So Taki now pushing back on this left side with a bunch of T-80s is a bit of a problem for AIM's Leopards, but managing to cap back in the sector, so that's good. In the middle. Just going to wait there long enough to make sure that's fully capped, and then we're going to remove my M1A1 from the sector. Now the other thing that I was thinking of doing right now was kind of potentially pushing over to the right hand side, but I do need to get rid of this T-80BVK, because otherwise he's just going to constantly do what we're doing with the M1A1 Abrams. So I'm going to have to make a play to attack his, well, our right flank here, and push Taki's, what would be his left flank. Taki, though, putting on pressure here is not helping too much. Cluster strike coming in from the Tornado. Unfortunately, looks like it's going to miss the mark. But here we go. Abrams now pushing up. Nice and aggressive. Take out the BMP-2. M1A1 gets hit by an HGM. Turret stuck. Not going to matter too much. I can still get the smoke off. But I just need to remove these threats. So we're now going to move the M1A1 Abrams with the ACAV and the Bradley to wipe out these units. The recon's really important here. Like, never really move forwards like normal tanks on their own like this. Always make sure you have some sort of recon. The Bradley is actually super important for units like the Conquer Squad, because it means after they fire once you can like instantly spot them. Whereas I'm not sure that the M1A1 ACAV with good optics would have spotted it. In the back there, the CH-47 going to be landing, ready to provide fuel, because that's now something that I had to be cautious of throughout the game. Kiowa going to be shifting over to the right-hand side. This provides exceptional recon, so very, very good to have on your back lines. Also, in a pinch, you can use the Hellfires, of course. So I'm lining it up here so that when the smoke clears, the T-80 BBK can be killed. Unfortunately, Bradley going to take an HGM to a face there. But we're still doing okay. Mortars continuing to put down HE fire onto some of Taki's units. I'm also going to start smoking off the Abrams here with that mortar fire. But I'm also trying to avoid enemy artillery fire at the same time. It's a very close game so far. But what do I have on the way? I've got some PVADs. We're going to have more tanks. So more Abrams, more PVADs. Just everything we need to construct a really nice big tank push. And put the pain on Taki. Since Taki has invested quite a few tanks over on the left-hand side, he's going to have less over here to actually deal with my stuff. See the CH-47 and the UH-60 going to be coming across. I realised the CH-47 is low on fuel. But just lining these up, getting them ready to push up, and well, Taki, he can see it the whole time, so he is preparing himself. Another aircraft crash there. NRS gonna get spotted, unfortunately. NRS squads are really, really useful for their GSR trait. It is one of the reasons that I can see so much of this stuff. But yeah, here, this is not necessarily to repair. This is actually, a lot of this is to actually refuel. Taki, bit of a mistake there, allowing his T-80 BBK to run out of smoke. And with that dead, we're going to push forwards. Kiowa going to come across and land to get more Hellfire missiles. I've also brought up the Widowmaker, the AH-1F Sea Knight with its TOW 2. Unfortunately, one of my Abrams is going to take a side shot from an HGM and go down. But we're pushing forwards aggressively now. Sea Knight going to try and get the TOW 2 on target, not quite in range. Engaging with this at max range is a bit of a mistake on my part. You ideally want to move these about 200 meters further forwards than you actually need them, so that when the enemy unit is retreating, the TOW 2 still has time to hit the mark. We managed to take out another T-80 though, which is good. Now I just got to take care of these Sapedi Comnoti. And the AH-1F. TOW 2 on target. T-80BB going down. Very, very good. Now we're taking shots from the side. T-80BB's going to be even further to the right and engage me here. Find two side shots to take out one of the M1 Abrams. Gonna have to smoke off the low health one. This one unfortunately getting stunned. F-15 Eagle comes in for the Mi-24, but there goes another one of my Abrams. Kiowa gonna have to try and save the day. Meanwhile, this AH-1F going a little bit deep does get taken out. Kiowa missing pretty much all of his missiles. Finally hitting important targets. And the last missile there actually hitting friendlies. He lost track and the Hellfire went straight into the engineers. Anyway, engineers going to be pushing forwards with their dragons in hand. The dragons aren't going to do a lot of damage to the T-80BVs, but they are going to like chip them. And the standard T-80Bs might take a little bit more damage, I'm not entirely sure. But T-80BV going down again as my M1A1 Abrams actually hit the mark properly. Kiowa now coming back with more Hellfire missiles. And this time, it's going to hit the mark. T-80B goes down. Looking for the next one. These Hellfire missiles are perfect for these sorts of tanks. They're not quite heavy enough, with only 14 front armor, to tank the Hellfires very well. So it takes like 2 shots to kill one. In that case, we got a spalling crit, so it took extra damage. But here we go, another 2 Abrams joining the other 2 that are pushing very aggressively here. Meanwhile, I'm repairing a couple further back with these aircraft, and we're just going to try and keep up the pressure. And basically throughout this game, what we've got to do is just trade effectively. Just keep trading as well as I can. Anytime I kill a tank, I've got to keep going forwards and exploit that. Because we have way more guns on target, and you can see how it just snowballs really hard. Like, all his T-80s now dead. The M1A1s are more or less fine. We are getting hit a little bit by the Mi-24P here, but his infantry that he's now brought up to reinforce in these Conquer squads, they're all going to get picked off in the open. I've got the PVADs now coming up, all 4 of them, to try and help finish off this Mi-24P finally. And they're just going to sit and shoot and eventually kill it off. There we go, beautiful. The M1A1 Abrams here, still chilling under smoke with the mortars, which is good. And we're sitting on that +1. But things are very, very close. Conquers going to be taken out. So that's 3 Conquers taken care of. And now I'm in a good position whereby I can pull off the flank to the right, potentially. Sathel's having a bit of a hard time. His command is under threat. So we're going to have to do something about this. But if I can just sweep from left to right and clean this out, we can probably capture back Foxtrot and Hotel. Meanwhile, more smoke coming down onto the M1A1 Abrams, of course, but currently just waiting for my UH-60A supplies to come forwards and resupply my tanks with fuel and, of course, armor, get them fixed up. Kiowa going to be shifting over to spot for me. Got 2 of them here with their Hellfire missiles at the ready. I've got to be a little bit careful because the Kiowas are very vulnerable to being dived by enemy aircraft. So that's why I didn't really bring them in earlier on, because they are very vulnerable to that, and usually at the start of the game that's when you're going to see those cheaper fighter aircraft come in and try and kill off these helicopters. Kiowa going to be going for its first shot there, finds a nice side shot into a T-72M, which is a nice kill. Another Hellfire looking for the UAZ. Could have an annoying Conquers in it or something, so taking that out is good. Here we have some aircraft coming in, so going to be trying to get my Kiowa out of there towards the AA. Unfortunately, my PVAD's not able to stop the MiG-21 in time, and both of the Kiowas go down. Now I've got my fleet of supply trucks moving up because my UH-60A supplies were running out of supply. I wanted to make sure that we had these topped off. T-80BV, a little bit of mistake there from Taki, bringing that in, letting it get killed like that. And 1A1 ACAV, meanwhile, on the left, going to get fire computer reset by the T-80BV and the Conquers. And I think my command here eventually died to artillery fire. So messing around trying to fix up all these tanks was potentially a bit of a waste of time. If I'd just like gone for the push to the right, I think that like earlier on probably would have worked out a lot better. But having them all at max health and also making sure that they all have smoke is super important. Here comes Su-22, is going to take out one of them, almost takes out 2. I didn't manage to smoke in time because the supply vehicles hadn't had enough time to resupply the smoke. So that was a little bit unfortunate, and this is why you can see me moving them back into the supply to make sure that they do have that smoke for those attack aircraft. Now, as you can see, there is only 5 minutes left on the game, and currently 735 points to 603. They're currently taking a +2, so we're going to want to make sure that we continue to contest this sector here. You can see I'm firing my mortars into the smoke here, and I'm probably going to be providing smoke for my own M1A1 in a moment. But here comes my M1A1s. We're going to be going for a little bit of a push to the right-hand side. All the PVADs opening up onto the MiG-21. Looks so cool. My tank here are going to get hit. We're engaging T-80 or T-55s, so it should be absolutely fine. The lighting effects on these maps, it's just so beautiful. There goes T-55. M1A1's going to be engaging the Shilka. On we go. Decadon's tanks. Really no match for the mighty Abrams. SU-22 on the horizon. Gonna smoke the two on the left here so that I could block the AT missile. He manages to get a shot off onto the far one. But yeah, just trying to make progress as quickly as possible. The issue right now is having units that are on the side over here whilst also having units in front of us to attack. It's very risky. But we're doing a lot of damage. See, we are wiping out tank after tank. We're taking out some of the support vehicles. My PVAD's now coming up to help deal with the enemy helicopters. And we are sitting currently on a +1. AIM's done a good job of taking back this sector and controlling that sector. We just need to get enough points to get over our opponents and ahead enough that it's not a draw. Abrams does manage to take out a TO-55, but gets side shot by a T-72M1. That's unfortunate. Stinger's now coming in, unfortunately getting hit by rocket artillery. PVADs getting shot at by the BMP-1. I've got a bunch of recon aircraft coming up just to make sure that I have recon so that I can see the units that are targeting me, because I'm currently having to deal with these T-72s at a distance, and if they're sitting in tree lines, my M1A1s can't really see them very effectively. Strelas are going to be kind of annoying here. In this case, my scout actually being very lucky, managing to dodge 3 shots, but the Abrams still trying to put damage on target. SU-25 coming in with HE rockets, looking for kills onto the Abrams here. One of them does get its bombs off. You can see that I did try and spread them out as quickly as possible. Here comes the reinforcements. The M1A1 going to be moving into the sector to try and cap that. These Abrams now going to be able to push through. Got to get rid of this T-55 though. We've got to maintain the +1 or +2 so that we can win the game. It's all very close right now. And these M1A1s, they're all very low on cohesion, they're all very damaged. Reinforcements are arriving, but we really don't have much time. I'm just going to be charging with these M1A1s towards the T-55 to try and take that out. Sathor's going to be arriving with helicopter supports. Apaches are going to get the job done with the Hellfire missiles. The 30 cals or 30 mil cannons going to be getting on target as well. We're pushing hard and fast. One of the Abrams does get slowed down. He's going to have to fall back. The remaining 4 going to continue the charge forwards. Let's just admire what this looks like as the Abrams continue to press forwards. Shilka goes down, T-72, unfortunately only 20 seconds left, not going to be able to get a leader into this right hand side. And they are now 814 to our 700. And it's not going to be enough. Buratino firing away, trying to take care of my Abrams, but look at that. Incredible battle. Unfortunately, a defeat in the end. 9,740 kills, 5,980 losses. An incredibly fun game, showing off the power of those M1A1 ACAVs in the early game. The Thunderbolts coming in looking cool, of course, and then beautiful large-scale tank battles. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.